Good evening.
I'm Alandra from Canada.
Well, welcome.
My question is twofold, and they both relate to things that you said in the last few days. So I'll just share them both with you.
Okay.
This morning I had the remarkable experience of kicking a rock and realizing that it was me, and walking through the trees and seeing myself and laughing a lot, and then my mind kicked in. Something happened hours later, and my mind kicked in and wouldn't let go. And my tendency is to resist it. So I really got what you said to the woman just now about the resistance that I have to it. But a few days ago, you were speaking to a gentleman one evening, and you started to talk about mindfulness and how it isn't enough.
How what?
How it isn't enough.
Often it isn't enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've been practicing mindfulness for years, and I can see it's not enough. I can detach from my mind and come back into a peaceful place, but then it comes right back in again. And today it was really tenacious, and it just kept, it's like a dog with a bone, you know? So that's one of my questions, is to ask you to deepen what after mindfulness.
Mindfulness, however it's practiced, but mindfulness it's you got a great foundation, right? Helps you get more conscious. I always say it helps you become more aware of your neurosis. and then become a witness to it, which gives some distance, right?
Yeah.
But it often doesn't necessarily break the link, right? So it kind of just recycles, So it's like, you're watching, how can I say? You're watching a garbage can unload itself, right? And you have a distance now, right? Your mind, but it's still cycling in the same old things. And often the reason is because in a lot of mindfulness practices, they are great as far as they go, but then often the next step isn't introduced or isn't even known by those who teach it. I don't know what it is, but the next step is the mindfulness itself it produces its own sort of ego structure. I am now the witness, right? So the me has transferred from one's psychology to some extent. Now it's the witness, but still, it's now you've got sort of an ego structure in both parts. And the part that's really necessary is this whole spiritual game is ultimately about identity. It all boils down to what we take ourselves to be. Where is our identity ultimately housed? Where do we see ourselves? Where is our sense of self? We can be really mindful, but actually still find our sense of self in the mind. Right?
That's what's happening. Yeah.
Right. So the next step then is that's where I introduce the question, which is not just a question for your mind, but it's a way to direct your attention. I call it a meditative inquiry. What am I? In other words, who's meditating? Who or what is it that's being aware? Is there actually, because this is the illusion that gets built up in awareness practice, is I am being aware, and I'm good at being aware, right? But that's the fundamental illusion. Is it actually true that I'm being aware, that I'm doing it? And so you look, can I find this me, the meditator, the I, the one who is being aware? Can you find it?
Yeah, I've been practicing this week deep listening. You talked about that, and about really listening with my whole being and really going deep.
Yes.
But at the time that I'm caught into the ego-mind conflict with the awareness, it feels effortful.
I understand. It's okay, so it's effortful.
So I remember, it's possible to be listening on a much deeper level. And I go, and I can do that when I'm, sitting here meditating and.
Yeah. See,
the challenge is when my mind is going.
I understand. But everything, the next moment is an outcome of this moment. Right? So when I'm asking you, look and see, do you see yourself? I'm not saying, here's what I want you to do when you leave here, or when you're not up at the mic or somewhere else. Because I know whatever happens in the next moment is absolutely dependent on this moment.
Yeah.
So I'm not as interested in giving you something to drag into the next moment as I am as, do I got your full attention, total dedication, absolute willingness right now? Because if I don't got it now, you're probably not going to muster it up then. You see what I mean? And and of course, any moment you get to is now. Okay?
Yes.
So there's always a brand new, totally fresh opportunity. I don't mean to imply the opportunity is only here when I'm here. I mean every now is its own opportunity, but the dynamic is the same. Because the mind can be caught in something. It's like, I need something to help me for when this happens. When it's like, wait a minute, it's happening right now. So the answer is right now. This instant. As we are here together. This instant will dictate the next instant, and the next will dictate the next, and so on. So when you look inside to see who this me is, who's the one who's being aware, what do you find?
I just find emptiness, spaciousness, openness. It's quiet.
Right. So just let it impact you for a moment. Because you can see something and know it.
Yeah.
Just let it sink in. Like, where did this all start? I'm looking I'm looking for what I am. That's what we're talking about. And I look inside and I find that I am no thing. It's not just an experience, you see.
Yeah.
It can be literally a shift of your entire sense of self. Because sometimes your mind keeps wanting to objectify, like, oh, I'm experiencing openness or whatever. It's like, remember what we're doing. We're talking about what you are. And let yourself be impacted. Wow, it's not there. The meditator isn't there. It was just a thought. The one practicing awareness practices, it's just a thought. But when I look, when you look, when we look, it's not there. There isn't a center there. There isn't a me in there. It's just, because all it's just thought, right? It's no thing. So, if there's a practice, it's realizing that, stopping there, opening to it, that recognition that can only come spontaneously as sort of a grace, where it's like, oh my God, this isn't just an experience of no thing, it's literally, there's nobody here.
And then whatever the dog was chewing on goes, whoop.
And if you get that, if you really get that, then what are the dogs always chewing on? You go, there's nothing here to comment on it.
Yeah.
It's just a noise. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is something to do in this moment, and yes, you can think of it as a practice to do in any moment, but it's always immediate, and it's always coming back to your experience now. Never looking for a future experience. What's available now? Right? Because that which seems to be nothing ends up to reveal itself when it's ready to, as the infinity of consciousness.
And it's like Eric was saying, it's nurturing that and allowing the little, because sometimes it's just a I know it's there, but
I understand it can be a very subtle thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can just throw you over with its power, but at other times it becomes subtle. Yeah, that's my question. Is then we go, what am I valuing?
Yeah.
Am I valuing my mind wanting to understand everything that's never worked to solve anything?
No.
Or am I valuing the gift that's already been given? Am I sitting there going, God, I want more? Or am I sitting there going, thank you for what's given? Different, isn't it?
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. Was there another question?
Yeah, and it is linked to this. It has to do with the person that was talking about suicide.
Yeah.
And you said, you asked the question, what is it that wants to die?
Yeah.
And I often have feelings, like a feeling that comes up, like I want to die, and yet I have a fabulous life, and I'm a happy person, and I've created, a loving relationship, and so when these thoughts come up, I push them away, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to create this. If I give them any room, then I might manifest that."
I see. Right.
And I don't have a real fear of death, although perhaps I would, if it was actually happening. But they come up a lot, and so then I started thinking about what you said about, well, what is it that wants to die? And I'm going, well, is it possible for the ego to actually want itself to die? Is that?
Oh no! You just asked the question, right? Because you're not emotionally suicidal. That's pretty clear to me. I can feel that's not where you are. But even if you're not, you can still have those thoughts come up. Sometimes people do, and I don't want to touch those because then I might become emotionally suicidal. But there may be, you never know. But you can be curious about them. So they won't hurt you. You're allowed to look at it. What wants to die? What's trying to be communicated here, right?
Yeah.
Certainly it's not that you want to throw yourself off a bridge. That's obvious to you right now. What is it? And don't make any assumptions. Like, it might be the ego. Get out. No. I don't actually know. I have no idea why these thoughts are coming up. I have no idea. Don't put it in any box, psychological box, spiritual box, even any box you've heard me talk about. Purely enter it innocently. What wants to die? What is this? Is there anything in this for me that's of value?
Yeah.
Right? And there may be. It may be.
Yeah, so it's making space for it instead of being afraid of it.
Yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of. Fear just basically ensures that the object of your fear will come about.
Yeah, thoughts manifest. Everybody's always saying that, what you think is, so you have to be careful what you think. So,
I would say don't be too overwhelmingly concerned with what you think, because you don't necessarily, thinking just happens. But if you're going to be careful of what you value.
Yeah.
Because you can have thoughts, the only reason that thoughts get stuck is because they're what you value. Oh, that thought's important, or that one's talking about me, or that thought's relevant, I value that. And then you've connected with it. So think of it more as what I value than simply what thoughts appear in consciousness. Thoughts have no power in and of themselves. They're derived all their power from consciousness. Consciousness plugs in, now they have power. It's like your appliance, your mixer at home. You can turn the on switch on all you want, but if it's not plugged in, not a damn thing's going to happen. Plug it in, though, turn it on, it goes. Plug a thought into what you value, now it has energy.
Right.
You see what I mean?
So a redundant thought that keeps recurring in your head, even though it's not of any importance, it's just repetitive. Yeah. It doesn't have any power unless
you value it.
Yeah. But
you may be unconsciously valuing it if it keeps coming up into your head all the time. We aren't always conscious of what we value.
But what if it's a criticism or a judgment or, or something about something that happened that I can see that it's just has no truth to it.
Can you feel it?
Can I feel that it has no truth to it?
That smile tells me everything I need to know.
I'm not sure what it would feel like.
Right. The feeling is, it has no truth. It's like getting a joke. It's like a giggle or a smile or a sense of well-being or joy or love. That's when you feel something. Understanding, it's useful. But that's why I keep saying, it's not just so much that you see that it's not true. You've got to feel that it's not true. Oh, it's not true. Oh. You see that?
I'm not sure how to do that, especially if it's...
Just lower your center of gravity. Don't let it have your pillow. Lower your center of gravity so you're feeling, just have the thought. It's literally, this is all you need, really. Just have the thought that I want to feel and experience what I know. You don't know how to do that. You don't have to know how to do that. You just throw that into the universe, throw it into consciousness, throw it into God. You don't know how. Confess it. But you have the want. I want to feel what I really know to be true. I want to experience it because it's the experience that has the power. That's why I always say, stick with something, look at it, feel into it, until you feel it shift. To know and not to be is not yet to fully know. Okay? Don't try to remember that. To know and not to be is not yet to fully know. To know and not to feel is not yet to really know.
Yeah.
Right? It's not yet to really know.
Right.
Yeah, to feel, now you're much closer to a holistic knowing, to knowing with your entire being. Okay.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you very much.